Every bourbon is made from the same 5 sources of flavor. They all contain water and grain. They are all fermented, distilled, and matured in new charred oak barrels. But at the Woodford Reserve Distillery, we do something special with each source to craft a perfectly complex flavor. The backbone of our bourbon is mineral-rich, iron-free limestone filtered water. It combines with our proprietary yeast strain to create Woodford Reserve's distinctive flavor and crisp, clean finish. Like the rest of our flavor sources, our grain recipe is unique to Woodford Reserve. To be considered bourbon, the grain recipe has to be comprised of at least 51% corn. Then we add malted barley and a high amount of rye. It's this extra rye that gives Woodford Reserve its pronounced spice character that separates it from other bourbons. At the Woodford Reserve Distillery, we cook our grain recipe in limestone water, creating our own unique mash. This mash is then transferred to our cypress fermenters, among the smallest in the industry. This is where our proprietary yeast strain works its magic, converting the sugars in the mash into alcohol, giving Woodford Reserve its bold flavor. Sure, all bourbon is distilled, but only Woodford Reserve is crafted using triple pot distillation in copper pot stills and double distillation in a column thumper still set. Copper is fantastic for distilling bourbon. It is an excellent heat conductor and reacts favorably with the alcohol vapors to remove sulfites and impart qualities that make for a superior whiskey. Our copper pot stills were made in Scotland by A. Forsyth & Son, one of the world's foremost coppersmiths, and serve as Woodford Reserve's most iconic symbol. For our copper pot stills, the mash from the fermenters is pumped into the first still, known as the beer still, where heat forces the vaporized alcohol up the gooseneck and passes through a condenser, which turns it into a 40-proof spirit called low wine. The low wine is then pumped into the second still, where it is heated and vaporized again, creating a 110-proof spirit called high wine. The distillation process is repeated again, pumping the high wine into the spirit still, producing a crystal clear 158-proof spirit, referred to as new make. Bourbon gets its color and distinctive flavor from the barrel aging process called maturation. The barrels are the key in this step, which is why every Woodford Reserve barrel is raised at our very own cooperage. The American white oak barrels are crafted, toasted, and charred to perfection before being filled with the freshly distilled new make. During maturation, the bourbon expands into the barrel in warm temperatures and is drawn back out in colder ones. Our temperature-controlled warehouses allow us to enhance the flavor that develops from the charred wood. We constantly sample the bourbon from the barrels as they mature to ensure they live up to our master distiller's highest standards. When they finally do, we're proud to call them Woodford Reserve Craft Bourbon.